Have you ever been so scared you couldn't move? I have, and it wasn't even in a horror movie. It was real life. I was alone in the wild, completely alone, and I don't want to scare you, but I need to warn you about what happened to me there. This is my channel, and I'm a professional mystery storyteller. Every week, I take you into the wild unknown to experience chilling mysteries, paranormal activity, strange encounters, and unsettling events that I narrate in a cinematic style, like a modern-day campfire ghost story. Before we begin, make sure to hit the subscribe button below, if you haven't already, so you won't miss any of my new releases. Also, keep in mind there will be a quiz at the end, so pay close attention to the details because I only accept those who are truly attentive as disciples. Alright, let's go. You hear that? Neither do I now that I think about it, but back then it drove me insane. It sounded like someone screaming deep within the jungle, a blood-curdling scream that echoed through the trees. Who was out there? I didn't know. All I knew was that I needed to get out of there. I had been hiking in the jungle for over a week, searching for a lost temple deep in the rainforest, and honestly, I'd had enough. I had found nothing but biting ants, punishing heat, and this unnerving feeling that I was being watched. The dense canopy kept the sunlight from penetrating the forest floor, which meant I always felt surrounded by looming darkness. The silence was thick, heavy, oppressive, broken only by the rustling of unseen creatures in the undergrowth. And then there was the sound of dripping water seeping through the ancient trees and the vines, a constant reminder of the humidity that clung to me like a second skin. It was on the seventh day that I heard the scream. I'd woken up before dawn, drawn from my sleep by the eerie symphony of the jungle. At first, it was just the familiar chorus of birds and insects, but then the cacophony changed, becoming louder, more insistent. That's when I heard it, a long, drawn-out scream, primal and full of terror. I froze, my blood turning to ice in my veins. It was a sound that should not exist, a sound that tore at the fabric of sanity. For a moment, time stood still. Then, just as abruptly as it began, the noise stopped. I lay there, paralyzed by fear, listening intently for any sound of movement, for any sign of whatever had made that awful cry. But all I heard was the disconcerting rustle of the wind through the leaves. What had I stumbled upon in this desolate jungle? What creature of the night had I disturbed? My mind raced, conjuring images of wild beasts, mythical creatures, and maniacs lurking in the shadows. As the sun began to rise, casting weak rays of light through the thick canopy, I forced myself to move. My hands trembled as I reached for my backpack, my heart pounding in my chest like a drum. One had to get out of there. I had to put as much distance between myself and that sound as possible. I started to walk, but it was hard to keep my balance on the uneven terrain. My legs felt heavy, as though gravity itself were trying to keep me rooted to the spot. Then I saw it, a clearing up ahead, and with a surge of adrenaline, I broke into a run. I stumbled and fell, scraping my hands on the rough ground, but I didn't care. I just kept running. When I finally collapsed on the forest floor, gasping for breath, I looked back, half expecting to see some monstrous shape emerging from the trees, but there was nothing there. Only the trees stood silently swaying in the gentle breeze. I spent the next few days walking without purpose, just getting away from that place, that horrible sound. I slept fitfully, always expecting to be awoken by that terrible cry, but it never came. Perhaps it was just a figment of my imagination, a hallucination brought on by the stress and isolation of my long hike. Or maybe, just maybe, whatever had made that sound was still out there watching me, waiting for me to return. When I finally emerged from the jungle, blinking in the bright sunlight, it was as if I had left a nightmare behind. The familiar sights and sounds of civilization washed over me in waves, each one a soothing balm to my frayed nerves. I had survived my ordeal, but the memory of that scream still echoed in my ears. Now I sit here in the safety of my home, surrounded by the comforting hum of daily life. Yet I can't shake off the feeling that something is out there beyond the realm of my understanding. Something that makes its presence felt in the dead of night. Something that calls out to me from the darkest corners of the jungle. And sometimes, when the wind blows through the trees, just right, I swear I can hear it. The faintest echo of a scream lost in the vastness of the wild. And now I want to ask you, what do you think happened in that jungle? Have you ever heard a scary sound in the middle of the night? Tell me in the comments below. Alright, now I'm going to tell you another very scary story. This one is called The Shadow People, and it's guaranteed to leave you terrified. I'll see you over there.